As in most parts of life, so too in politics. It is the unscheduled stuff that is always the most interesting.
Assassination is against
all
the
signs out.
You are betraying democracy when you assassinate suspects. You are betraying to democracy.
If the Capitol Police will clear the room, please.
Protesters with the group Code Pink began interrupting today's CIA director confirmation hearings before they even started. After Mr. Brennan began his testimony, 5 Code Pink protesters did their thing one after another, pop, 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 in a single several-minute span.
Thank you. A heartfelt thank you also goes to my family in New Jersey, especially my 91-year-old mother, Dorothy, and my 92-year-old father, Owen, who emigrated from Ireland nearly 65 years ago.
And Mr. Brennan, if you don't know who they are, I have a list with all the names and the...
All right. We're going to halt the hearing. I'm going to ask that the room be cleared and that the Code Pink associates not be permitted to come back in. Done this 5 times now, and 5 times are enough.
5 times will be plenty for you, Code Pink associates. Associates. I wonder if that is the hierarchy. Senator Feinstein today clearly wanted to get on with it, right? Regardless of how you feel about the CIA or killing people outside war zones or John Brennan or the Senate or, for that matter, Dianne Feinstein, you kind of have to tip your hat to the Code Pink folks just on operational grounds, right? I mean, they can get it done. Since they started showing up in Washington almost a decade ago, even though everybody knows they're coming now, Code Pink still gets in everywhere.
This hearing is adjourned.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill.
Clear the room.
We can't afford this war. The American people don't want it. I don't know when we get a chance to speak.
reckless behavior coming from the NRA. The NRA has blood on its hands. The NRA has blood on its hands. Shame on the NRA.
I'm going to ask that the room be cleared and that the Code Pink associates not be permitted to come back in. Done this 5 times now, and 5 times are enough.
Somebody today christened this the Code Pink filibuster. And, you know, I know what Code Pink was doing was not a real filibuster, but they did cause a very real delay, as they always do, and God bless them. John Brennan, of course, is not the only nominee trudging around Capitol Hill right now. President Obama's pick for defense secretary might actually prefer an old Code Pink filibuster over the surprising delay he is stuck in now. The Chuck Hagel nomination seemed like it was done. I mean, enough Republicans had said they would support Mr. Hagel's nomination. Enough Republicans had agreed that they should not filibuster him, that he looked ready to be confirmed by the Senate. But now it is not clear when that vote might happen, even though the outcome of that vote is a foregone conclusion. The Senate Armed Services Committee has now put off its vote on Mr. Hagel, and that's because 23 Senate Republicans are demanding that Chuck Hagel provide specific financial information about private corporations where he has served on the board. Not information about the money he made, but information about the corporations themselves. Those senators are also demanding that Chuck Hagel give them copies of every speech he has made in the past 5 years, including notes you utilized for preparation or in giving the remarks, to which former Senator Hagel has responded, quote, "Your request for financial information regarding certain private, corporate, and nonprofit entities is not mine to give. As a board member, I have a fiduciary duty that includes the obligation to maintain the confidentiality of non-public corporate information." And regarding at least some of those speeches, Mr. Hagel explained, quote, "The contract for these engagements stipulates that they are off the record, private, and not recorded." Quoting from BuzzFeed Scoop on this today, quote, "According to a senior Republican aide close to the confirmation process, senators are not reacting well to this response." With all respect to the austere tradition of the U.S. Senate, U.S. senators do not usually act this way at all. Senators do not usually demand that nominees for the president's cabinet, even the nominee for defense secretary, like Chuck Hagel is now, they do not usually demand that those nominees reveal private details about the companies they work for or the speeches that they give, let alone withhold support from the nominee until they get that information. This is not the way the Senate has treated nominees before. The outgoing defense secretary, Leon Panetta, The last guy confirmed for the job, he had also made oodles of money giving speeches and serving on corporate boards. He was actually confirmed for 2 different jobs. For CIA director in 2009, the committee then forwarded his nomination with 0 objections. He was confirmed by the full Senate on a voice vote. And then he was nominated again, this time for defense secretary in 2011. The vote on that one was 100-1. It was unanimous. The nominee for Secretary of Defense before him, Robert Gates, in 2006. Bob Gates had also made buckets of money in the private sector, including serving on the board of a major contractor with the Pentagon. Mr. Gates gave speeches, lots of them, for which he was paid plenty. But when Bob Gates testified before the Senate, the subject of his private sector earnings never came up. After 5 hours of non-confrontational questions, the committee voted for him unanimously. And then when it went to the full Senate, they confirmed him 95-2. The nominee before that, remember this guy? Donald Rumsfeld, 2001. Donald Rumsfeld, of course, had made zillions in the private sector. He sat on the board of a company that was believed to have won a giant contract to help North Korea build nuclear reactors. But when Donald Rumsfeld testified before the Senate, they didn't ask about the stock that he held or his roles in international business. They did not even ask about the North Korean reactors. They recommended his nomination to the full Senate, where he was confirmed in another vote of 95-2. So if history has anything to say about it, then what's happening to Chuck Hagel right now is not at all normal. It is not the regular order of business in the United States Senate. They've never asked other defense nominees about this. The campaign to make Chuck Hagel reveal these reams of confidential information about private companies, or else, seems to have originated with the new guy, Republican Senator Ted Cruz, the guy from Texas. Longtime political scholar Norman Ornstein calls this demand by Senator Cruz, quote, unprecedented. Mr. Ornstein continued, quote, that a freshman senator would ask for that level of information says more about Ted Cruz than about anything else. I've never heard of anything like that before. But you could say that Ted Cruz in the Senate is unprecedented, too. Strange times in the U.S. Senate right now. Strange times.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. We are for free education. We do not give up. Expect surprises. Subscribe.